Please settle down. We'll be starting the event. A little warning, I'm wearing really heighted heels, so I might trip over, but the best thing is we have a lot of doctors out here, so I'm not worried at all. Okay, on that note, once again, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing in the maximum city, Mumbai? Especially people who have come from other cities. Okay, doctors are supposed to have a lot of energy, right? And यहाँ पे बहुत ठंडा लग रहा है. So how are you all doing in the maximum city, Mumbai? What is this? What is this? Come on, I want you all to have a little more energy. So when I say 1, 2, 3, you all have to say yes. What do you have to say? What do you have to say? I know it's a little strange for doctors to hear instructions from someone else, but still. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and. Now that is the kind of energy that we need in the room. I am Tanvi, your host for the evening, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this grand event that is going to introduce you to the revolution in healthcare. So a big warm welcome to all of you, and let's get ready for that moment that will create history. Now before that, can we please have a huge round of applause for all the doctors who are present here for the work they've done in their respective fields and their dedication towards saving so many human beings. Come on, we deserve one more round of applause. A huge one, a huge one. And HealWell24 is India's first doctor-patient network, Healthtech solution provider, technology-enabled consumer, and AI-based business service startup currently operating at Mumbai and serving 35 plus cities. Telemedicine, HealWell24 has 1,000 plus doctors. Wow. On that note, can we have a huge round of applause? 300 plus labs and 100 plus dentists on its platform. The focus being on consumer healthcare and doctor-patient centric. Before we see the revolution, let us get to know HealWell as a company a little better, and what plans does the management have for this amazing new venture. And for this, I would like to call on stage. Any guesses? Who? Who said that? So just because you're sitting right to him, right? Okay. And for this, I'm going to call Mr. J.K. Singha, founder, MD and CEO HealWell24, to please come on stage and say a few words. And a huge round of applause for sir, please, for this amazing, innovative idea.
Let's check. Okay. Good evening, all. And it's my warm welcome, all the doctors. During this COVID era, my immense pleasure to join us and today in the community. And around in 3 plus years back, I thought of to living well-paid job and thought of to serve for consumer, patient. Together. So I approached the party to work together, and I would like to also call along with share a few words together. That Purvis Parikh is the ex-medical oncologist and chairman of Tata Memorial. He's a mentor of the journey so far, and he can share some thoughts about the journey he's been.
Thank you very much, JK. Like you said, 3 years ago we started this journey, and I don't know how quickly the 3 years have passed. As the name suggests, HealWell24 was really on the dot for providing 24 hours service for home healthcare. And during the COVID times, it has really elevated and raised the bar to such an extent that I don't know how many hundreds and thousands of patients have benefited from the services provided. And the services were provided in such a way that our staff who were providing the services were vaccinated, they were protected, and they are given enough PPEs to make sure that they are safe while providing the services. And they benefited both COVID positive and COVID negative patients. And none of our staff has actually had a serious infection that required hospitalization or had a compromise on their life. So I think that is a tremendous achievement in today's day and age. Thank you very much.
And so far, so we transition from home health to telemedicine in the last 3.5 years. So the idea is to just to serving in the ecosystem to just to build home healthcare company, not just to build a booking engine or consulting company for telemedicine. The idea is to create one of the largest ecosystem to connect consumer and the doctors and healthcare community. Is our vision too. That's how the DocsCampus is come up. The idea of the DocsCampus is to consolidate healthcare ecosystem. Doctors and patient now they can connect a network as well as patient to patient connect. And also one of the major important how the idea is come up is look at we all belong, we are very comfortable to access healthcare because we live in metro city. It's very easy to access healthcare technology. But look at those who are rural districts and towns, those doctors also, not only the consumer standpoint. The technology accessible is always not all the time not visible or feasible for them also, because they've been sitting PSC for the last 20 years. And then new technology and KOL, for example, I've been, let's say I'm in the rural city, and I'm rural town or districts. I'm in last 20 years, and I'm practicing for my local community and the consumer or the patient. But then, what about my medical education and my access for the KOLs in ecosystem? So there, the DocsCampus come in to connect doctor to doctor, and as well as doctor and the patient together. So we'll come up. How the idea, the product has come up, and how we build this ecosystem, and to serve in not only just in Mumbai. We look forward to serve next 3 months to 100 cities in Indian ecosystem, and then building a next level of global network. Because it is proud to be announced that we're the only in the global network we have, which is called DPN. DPN is patented. That is called Doctor Patient Network. So the brand name is DocsCampus. So it's not just a doctor to doctor network, it is a doctor and patient network together. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And once again, thank you so much, Mr. Singha. Can we please have another huge round of applause for sir for those amazing, thoughtful words? And we all know that light represents brightness, positivity, and energy. By lighting a lamp, we embrace these things and embark on a new journey, hoping to make it a remarkable one. Well, on that note, with a small insight, let us begin this event by lighting a lamp. And for this, I would like to invite Mr. J.K. Singha once again, Dr. Purvesh Parekh, Dr. Govind Babu, Mr. Manmeet Singh, Mr. Chitranjan Mishra, Dr. Prashant Mehta, Mr. Anil Verma, and Mr. Nilesh Vanshali. Can we please have a huge round of applause for all of them once? A very beautiful and auspicious start of the event. Can you please have a huge round of applause once? I'll request all of you to please take your seats. Now that we have embraced positivity, energy and good spirits, it is time to embark on an eventful journey called Revolution in Healthcare. And we will start that with the first panel discussion for the evening, Market Situation and Trends from Doctors' Perspective. So please invite on stage Mr. Chitranjan Mishra, who's the moderator and the product representation from HealWell 24. Can we please have a huge round of applause for sir? Dr. Govind Babu, MD, DM Oncology Professor at Kidwai Institute of Oncology, Bangalore. Dr. Amit Patil, MBBS, MD and DM Cardiology. A huge round of applause for them, please.
Hi everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So I'm a little nervous, so a little bit of butterflies. So in case I slip some words, so please forgive me. So JK has introduced about our product, what we are looking forward to. Now let us understand from doctor's perspective, extremely senior doctor perspective. Dr. Govind Babu is globally known oncologist. Dr. Amit Patil is extremely popular, very well known in Bombay as a cardiologist. So their perspective is going to be extremely important for all of us who are trying to build this community, and I'm sure how much we respect both of you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. So sir, to start it off, I'm going to ask that why a doctor's network? We'll come to the patient network slightly later. Why a doctor's network? You can always say, people say that, okay, there are many networks available, but why doctor's network is different from other networks that is there in the country? Will there be a Facebook or a WhatsApp is going to be able to solve the problems that doctors keep on facing on a daily basis? So my question to you, sir, is that do you feel there is a definitive need of a doctor's network, and why it is different, why it is required, sir?
Yeah, I think a bit of it JK already told. You know, we have such a divide between doctors practicing in the remotest areas and some of the really large metros where everything is available. So I think this is an important step that you have taken to build this gap. So if this is possible and if you can effectively do it, it's going to help the healthcare in a very large way. You know, like Jake already told that people in the rural areas, they're very comfortable in their cocoon. You know, they've been practicing what they were doing for the last 30 years, but the science of medicine has progressed a lot. And they're not, many of them may not even be aware that there is a progress happening. So I think this digital platform will really be a very useful thing to start off as an eye-opener and then to connect with other doctors, other peers in their field, and they may not have too much inhibitions to interact with the doctors because they all form the same group. So I think that's definitely going to help them.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll just have one more follow-up question.
Sure.
Is that, so many times we feel, I have a couple of doctors, my father-in-law is a doctor, so I really don't understand many of the things that they speak about. I'm not from medical profession, many of us are not from. So do you think a network where doctors can freely access their information, but purely for other doctors, which is not going to be visible to people which can't understand anyway? So if you post something on the Facebook, sir, I'm sure that 99% of non-doctors are not going to be able to get it.
No, medicine is always Greek and Latin. So for the other people, it will truly be Greek and Latin. So I think it's important that as doctors, we are on the same page to discuss things. And definitely that's a good way of doing it.
Thank you, sir. I think DocsCampus will be solving that first piece where doctors can share their information purely with other doctors rather than to the open network, keeping the oath intact. Sir, to Amit Patil, sir, I've spoken. Thank you. Sir, so I have a question for you, sir. We have recently seen the kind of the COVID second wave, the way it has ravaged some parts of the country, and Bombay also faced some of that. So I saw personally that many of my friends and group mates started creating their own WhatsApp groups, and nobody was a doctor there, qualified doctor, but they were giving advice to everyone that you do this, you do that. ये पतंजलि का ले लीजिए, उसका ले लीजिए, so that became a certain kind of problem. Do you believe that कि patient to patient network, or how do we solve for that, sir?
Yeah, so basically, sir was talking about the healthcare ecosystem, and now recently you have observed how weak is our healthcare ecosystem. So during even COVID pandemic, anybody was just passing the message: this product is important and this will benefit that way. But there was no as such someone who can guide general population. There is no as such a healthcare community of experts who can guide general public what is important, what is not important. Obviously, no one was knowing, but there was so such a useless things were also going on in the market on FB, Twitter. So rumors were there. So for that, there should be some moderating body or helping body. We can say a health community from which we can provide from our DocsCampus. That's what great thing from it.
Right, sir. So I have one follow-up question, sir.
Yes.
So how do you think this moderated social community should look like in the future? Should it be location specific, or should it be disease or complication specific? How should it?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
The patient networks, the patient community, should it be geographic specific for people so that they can be moderated by a certain doctor from that geography, or should it be by the top specialist in that disease class, like a cardiologist or oncologist? So, what is your belief there?
So definitely, see what happens. How is a patient's mindset? A patient from particular area, and if you have doctor from that particular area, he trusts more as compared to some geographically different area practicing doctor. So they have preoccupied trust in doctors practicing their area. So that we can help by forming a community of patients, like a patient network, and that connected with the doctors network of local area. So that will definitely help to the patients, and it will help to society as well.
So socially valid community with a respected doctor from that area or that specialty is going to help.
Yeah, so what was happening on WhatsApp and Twitter, that was without any goal. We can form a goal-directed community between the doctors and patient, and we can connect them. So it will be beneficial for both local patients and local doctors that way.
I'm going to steal that phrase, goal-oriented community, from you, sir, from our marketing documents.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's fine, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have one question for you, sir. We have seen recently, in the last 20-25 years, India is also on the same foot of as that of a Western country in terms of disease class, of chronic diseases going up. That is very, very visible from what we are seeing in diabetes and oncology. The numbers are phenomenal, like 65% in 25 years and so on. So, do you believe, sir? And now COVID has created one additional problem where people are staying in their houses for a very long period of time. I was quarantined at some point of time. And it's quite difficult to keep a mental sanity. So that piece is also now coming into the play. So do you believe that there is a need for patient-to-patient network where people can talk to each other, where people can discuss the similar kind of situation and try to help each other rather than depending on a booking engine like Healwell or a specialist who are anyway very, very busy to solve basic problems?
Yeah, absolutely. Because many patients, especially in oncology, they have gone through this process of the therapy, and they have their unique ways of overcoming the problems that they come up with. So that the new patient who is going to take treatment will definitely be benefited. And as a doctor, whatever I tell them, they may not get the whole impact as from a patient who has already gone through this treatment. So one specific example I'll give you. A lot of these women who come for cancer therapy, the main important problem is they lose their hair. So many of them say, I don't mind dying, I'll rather not lose my hair. So what I do is I tell them to talk to another patient who has gone through this, how they've coped up with it, and each one has their innovative way. So we have various options of trying to prevent hair loss. Many women just shave off their hair, make a wig out of it, and use it. And we have this very traditional way of saying, okay, we gave it off to the God. So that is one way. So each person has a different frame of mind, and I think getting patients together to network and talk about their experiences will definitely help the next patient.
Right, sir, absolutely right. I believe so, sir. My mother had gone through the same phase. So from that, I have one additional question, probably my last, sir. Yes. Sir, with people from small towns, such as what I came from, when they come to a large city to take medical advice and curative journey in Tata Memorial, and so on. So my mother got treated in Tata Memorial at a certain point of time. It almost ruined us financially. Because first of all, we didn't know that where to stay, where to live, how much it's going to cost us. So do you believe, sir, a patient-to-patient community might solve? Because not all this information will ever be available publicly. No booking engine can do that. So if somebody has gone through it, can they help so that people don't get bankrupt? Like 60% of the bankruptcies of the country, more than that, is from people underestimating the cost that they're going to incur. So will a community like that, a patient-to-patient community, will be able to help that? Do you believe so, sir?
Yeah, definitely, because like you said, these finer aspects of taking treatment in a large city is not written down anywhere. They don't know what it is. So if somebody has gone through it and how they've coped up with, and they already have some contacts in that city which they can use to help them, will definitely go a long way.
Thank you, sir. Ami, sir.
Yeah, so basically, if some family has some medical issue, usually what they do, they ask their relative who has suffered from same issue. You are by this way you are just forming a family with the same medical issues who can help them, and they can, as sir told, they can tell about the finer aspects also. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. That's all my questions, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience, please? Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Once again, can we have a huge round of applause, please? It was a very enlightening session, and we would like to thank our moderator and the panelists. I'll request once again Mr. Chitranjan Mishra and Mr. Govind Babu to please come on stage. And I'm going to ask you all, any guesses what's going to happen now? No one knows what's going to happen here on stage? Come on. All doctors. Why is everyone looking so zapped? Too much information. Sir, it's like I've come here to chill today. Do not disturb me. Okay. It's time for the event for which we all have gathered here today. The launch of world's first doctor-patient network. On that note, can we please have a huge round of applause? A platform where doctors can connect with other doctors, patients can connect with doctors, and patients can find out other patient case studies with similar ailments. Live and interactive webinars, medical video lectures from top experts, dedicated groups and pages for hospitals, clinics and labs, and so many more benefits. The list is long. So without further ado, let me invite some very special dignitaries here on the stage. Can I please have Mr. J.K. Singha, Founder, MD and CEO, HealWell24. Dr. Purvish Parekh, MBBS, MD, PhD Oncology, Founder, President of Asian Cardio-Oncology Society, ex-Chairman of Medical Oncology, Tata Memorial Hospital. Dr. Govind Babu, can we please have a huge round of applause for him, MD, DM Oncology, Professor at Kidwai Institute of Oncology, Bangalore. Mr. Manmeet Singh, Senior GM and Global Health Quality Assurance, SAP at Sun Pharmaceutical. A huge round of applause, we need some more energy. Mr. Chitranjan Mishra, co-founder, HealWell24. Dr. Prashant Mehta, MBBS, MD and DM Oncology, founder, the Onco Clinic. And Mr. Nilesh Bhanushali, co-founder and CTO, HealWell24. So a huge round for all these very special dignitaries. So before we actually move ahead with the launch, I'm going to ask all of them one by one, how are they feeling right now? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people, all of you must have given your specific ideas and your information. So how are you, sir? First, let's start with you. How are you feeling?
It's going to be rocking and excited.
It's going to be rocking and exciting. I think that's the first doctor that I've ever heard saying rocking and exciting. That is so cool. Can you please?
I'm not a doctor, I'm a biotechnologist and management graduate.
Sorry, my fault. So in case I trip over, then I'm not coming to you. Can we please have a huge round of applause for sir? And And who's going to answer next? Yes, sir is very excited.
I think we are all suffering from mood poisoning because of the COVID situation, mood poisoning. And coming here, meeting people face to face is rejuvenating and refreshing.
I think that is one of the most special parts. Yes, sir.
So thanks, actually feeling very excited. So seeing that we started with some of the concept and now seeing that concept is being live. So which is really feeling very good.
So I have something important to say actually. So I've always felt that the goal of treatment for a doctor is not only cure, but it is achieving happiness. So if there is no happiness, cure can't be there. So second thing I wanted to say is doctors are not that boring. You can associate the term rocking with doctors. So doctors can be rocking as well and happy as well.
That was a joke. We
if
have
doctors
a
are rocking, the patient will also be happier and rocking. Absolutely.
Yeah, really it's very exciting for all of us. It's a hard work of all of us from last 3 months what we are doing, like sleepless nights and, full tight deadlines. So this is, it's going to be a very good for all of us to, launch the platform of, with all doctors and everyone. Right? Thank you.
So like you heard, this concept started about 3.5 years ago. So today it's like the childbirth. It's a long gestation, 3.5 years, but I think it's definitely exciting.
Thank you, sir. I would say I'm a little nervous, but very excited at the same time.
So I'm going to ask, Singha sir, when you first thought of this idea, when you look back right now, the first thought which came to your mind, what was that? What inspired you basically? I want to know that. And I'm sure that all of us want to know that. What inspired you?
The journey has started 2015. I was working and traveling across Southeast Asia, India and Southeast Asia. So our journey is, some personal and my pain point. My father was not well, and he was early 2015. He was diagnosed as in cancer. I mean the mix of hemiplegia. I'm being a corporate professional. I need to keep on travel across wherever I am. So at that time, healthcare access of digital ecosystem is very, very less. So I need to connect a patient with the doctors, hospital, bits and bits together and bring together. So after all, my father was not well quite, and he was pretty serious, and suddenly not accessible of. I belong from a small town called Silchar, Assam, so not accessible of enough healthcare. He passed away at 8th of August 2015. So and then journey was not easy early till mid the 2016, but being a corporate life needs to keep on continue, so must go on. So I thought of early 2017, I need to serve for the people first. My concept was to bring the serve for the people, elderly care and rural consumer healthcare to be strengthened, and bring digital to connect the rural consumer can metro doctors. Top urban consultant and physicians. This was my initial first concept. It's come something very personal, and it becomes it makes me a startup entrepreneur, and that's how the idea come up and build ecosystem, and want to connect more number of consumers served across India, not India. Across India, we will be soonly serving via DocsCampus global ecosystem. Thank you very much.
I think what is amazing is after suffering such a terrible loss, what inspired you was to help other people. Now that is a very enlightening thought, especially after a person has suffered such a great loss. On that note, can we please have a huge round of applause? And as you all know, a special occasion calls for a very special guest. That brings me to a very proud moment, yes. Now, many actresses in Hindi film industry impress the audience with their acting and beauty. But the combination of beauty with brain and add courage to it is extremely rare. And our special celebrity guest today is someone very special. She's an actress, she's a tech entrepreneur, she also knows how to fly a plane. She can drive a Formula One car, she has won the Miss India pageant, she's a master's in political science, and something which I'm truly in awe of, she drove to her wedding on a bullet. Any guesses? I'm sure all of you know. Yes, a daughter, a wife, a mother, and to sum it all, a rock star and an amazing human being. Please put your hands together for the super amazing Golpana. Can we please have a huge round of applause? And like I told you earlier, we're going to unveil the Heel 24. Are you all excited? Are you all ready? Can we have some more energy in the room, please? Now we have such a beautiful lady in front of you. And once again, can we please have a huge round of applause for ma'am? Thank you so much for gracing the event with your presence. And yes. Yes. Woo! Wow. Once again, can we please have a huge round of applause? And that was the moment that we have been waiting for. Yes, yes, please, of course, yes.
Just make it worse, that's all. I'm fine, thank you. We have the rockets now.
Once again, can we please have a huge round of applause? Everyone. And I'll request Gul ma'am to say a few words now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, doctors in the room. It is indeed an honor for me to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this prestigious launch. I think the COVID crisis has revealed the large gap that exists between what needs to be done from a healthcare standpoint and what has so far been possible. And with the intervention of technology, we've seen that not only can technology be a bridge, but it can be an incredible accelerator and an amplifier of what exists, so that access is no longer the privilege of a few people living in tier 1 cities. I'd like to congratulate the founders, the makers of the app, because I think this is something that's really needed. The fact that doctors in small towns will have access to super specialists with incredible amounts of experience. The fact that patients from cities that may not necessarily have those super specialists will also have access to doctors. And last but not least, I think patients often also want to speak to other patients who may have been through something which they are perhaps suffering from, so that they can, maybe exchange notes and know that they're not alone in fighting the battles that they fight. So I feel the intervention of technology in healthcare today is a catalyst that's going to completely change the way we view healthcare in India. And once again, I'd like to congratulate the team, all of you here, for inviting me. And it's a very big day. I wish you all the very best for the future, and I'm sure this will be a resounding success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll request you to please kindly take your seats, and thank you once again, everyone. Once again, can we have a huge round of applause, please? And I'll request Mr. J.K. Singha, Dr. Purvish Parekh, and Dr. Prashant Mehta to please remain on stage. And request Dr. Amit Patil to join us on stage for the second panel discussion. The second panel discussion is about DocsCampus and the necessity existence in present ecosystem. So once again, we have Mr. J.K. Singha, founder, MD and CEO of Healthtech, and moderator for this discussion. Can we please have a huge round of applause for sir? Dr. Purvish Parekh, MBBS, MD, PhD, Oncology, founder, president of Asian Cardio-Oncology Society, ex-chairman of Medical Oncology, Tata Memorial Hospital. Can we please have a huge round of applause for sir? Dr. Prashant Mehta, MBBS, MD and DM Oncology, founder, the Onco Clinic. A huge round of applause. And Dr. Amit Patil, MBBS, MD and DM Cardiology.
Yeah, it's happy to be invited and sitting together all of the global renowned oncologists that the Purvish Parekh, along with the next generation medical oncologists and now singer, the Prashant, along with happy to be part of Amit Patil as well. So let's the journey of we would like to know about how the DocsCampus ecosystem is built on the basis of to create the largest digital network ecosystem for doctors to doctors. So when we started, it's the concept to build first to create and solve some of the major problem of between the doctors to doctors. So I would like to know some between the doctors to doctor network standpoint, some views from the Professor Parekh.
So it's always been a challenge to keep up to date with the technological and scientific advances, particularly in healthcare. And we see innovations all the time. In the COVID era, all this got multiplied. Because we could not go out and meet other colleagues, we were all restricted to within the whatever limited facilities we had. And there was so much new things happening in COVID every day that we needed to be connected. So obviously the answer is to find a solution on the virtual world, to be online and get as much information as possible. And the best way to get connected is with a solution like DocsCampus.
I would like to also a view from the next generation medical oncologists, renowned medical oncologists, and the singer, Dr. Prashant, so that you being in, from our standpoint, my point of view, current just newly passed out, last 5 years passed out, doctors has more digital acceptance. So I would like to know in terms of the doctor-to-doctor network, along with the patient-centric, the patient network. So I would like to know, first point is how doctor-to-doctor network will help in terms of educating your ecosystem around the community, doctor community. So what's your view on this?
So I would start off by saying that this social media is a double-edged sword, and it is quite unregulated. So if it is regulated, it can be a boon. But if it's unregulated, it can wreak havoc actually. So, how to regulate it? If it is moderated, like something like DocsCampus, if it is moderated well by experts, a lot of misinformation can be prevented. And as you said, doctor-to-doctor network, very important. I'll just tell you, during even our post-graduation, many people are not exposed to oncology. Subsequently, in super specialty, later on, they learn more. So, even a nephrologist, for that matter, might not understand CLL, asymptomatic CLL. Today in the morning, I'll just share an example with you. A senior nephrologist, I got a call from him. There's a patient who is asymptomatic, has been found to have leukocytosis, increased white cell count, just on a routine blood test. And now he has to undergo a kidney transplant for a chronic kidney disease. The nephrologist won't know whether the patient can be transplanted, whether he needs treatment for CLL or not. I'm sharing a true life situation, real life situation. The patient actually did not need any treatment for a blood cancer. And many people and many general public would not know that there could be a blood cancer which does not need any treatment and needs to be observed only. Even the nephrologist who is DM does not know that. I, being an oncologist, would not know many things which are happening in nephrology about kidney transplant. So this doctor-to-doctor network is not only important for somebody who is at the periphery, but also important for somebody who is a super specialist, because cross-speciality expertise also is not there, because you are focusing on one subject. So it is very important to have a good doctor-to-doctor communication and network, and also the patient's viewpoint gets moderated, and there are experts to guide them. It's a regulated platform. That's all I have to say.
And also from that party, I would like to know about in India, hypertension, cardiac arrest is very common. So mostly from kind of the this doctors to doctors network, how it will be helpful for those rural consumer, the patient, and also those rural PC doctors to help treatment and connecting together. We would love to know understanding about your standpoint in cardiology and the treatment plan, also between the doctors to doctors, your network, how much it will help in your community.
Exactly, as sir said, even in oncology, it's not any topic in our whole MBBS career. That's why the basic knowledge about oncology is also missing. Similarly, in cardiology, what I faced during the practice, the basic investigation is ECG. And in whole MBBS career, we have ECG as it's a practical topic. And usually what happens in medical courses, practical topics been read only just before the exam. So throughout the MBBS, no many doctors are perfect in ECGs. Okay, so this is what gaps in the medical education system that we can fulfill from your DocsCampus system. Educating the doctors from the webinars, Zoom meetings that we can do. Second thing, if any doctor in periphery having some issue in ECG, he can share to experts on the DocsCampus and we can guide them. So that way we can help doctors in big cities also, in peripheries also, and the aspiring students also. In fact, before this meeting, I was discussing with Dr. Parikh same points. So it will be really helpful for all the doctors.
Let me just give an example. We need a solution that can help the patient by reducing the time spent, by reducing the amount of money spent, and by reducing the mental tension and stress of the unknown. So let us assume that a patient goes to a GP with an ulcer in the mouth. Now that ulcer in the mouth could be just a simple thing because of constipation, and it's going to resolve by itself within the next 1 week. It could also be because the patient is having a habit of consuming tobacco, or it could actually be cancer. Now when the GP is seeing the patient, he takes a photograph and sends it on DocsCampus. A specialist can immediately answer whether this needs further intervention or not. So in 90% of instances, the GP can get the expert opinion and tell the patient, oh, there is nothing to worry about, you can go home reassured, no treatment required, no time to be spent, and no tension. This is the biggest advantage of a system like DocsCampus.
Thank you. So, on also the patient standpoint, there's another, my last topic of because DPN as So, I would like to know your, as in doctors, as a medical fraternity opinion. So, creating how much it will be beneficial for in terms of the consumer, as well as the doctors community by doctor and patient connecting the network.
Besides other aspects, what I think is most important is to overcome the misunderstanding and miscommunication. All of us are well aware that the WhatsApp fake university has so much miscommunication and fear factor that is going around. I think this solution can really rationalize and give the right answer to the right people at the right time. And that, I think, is going to be the most important. In addition to that, there are so many other advantages of ensuring that a GP or a remote doctor can connect to the right specialist without having to search and identify the right. And if you have the ways of ranking the people who are participating, then that enhances the value of this.
Also, like to know about as a next digital generation doctor, what's your view on the connecting doctor and patient together?
So absolutely, my view is positive only. Dr. Amol Patel is also here in the audience, a very good friend of mine. He's a doctor in the army. We trained together in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. He has written a very good article. I would recommend all of you go back and read that. It is on cancer train. Have you heard of that? It's a train which runs from Bhatinda to Bikaner, and it's full of cancer patients. Just to take opinion, they have to travel that much. A platform which is moderated, regulated, might actually reduce a lot of agony for all these patients. They are sick, they are deteriorating, they are not able to access expert opinion from even an oncologist. You are not able to get an opinion, you are not able to get a treatment plan. They have to travel so much. And Dr. Amol actually did travel with them. He has written that article on his experience on that journey. It's an enlightening article. And you are providing a solution for such patients, and I really appreciate that. Okay. And we trained in All India Institute, and we have catered. Sir has been in TMH. We have catered to all stratifications, all strata of patients. The rich ones, the very poor ones. There were patients who we treated, and they used to go back and sleep on the same street or the road outside All India Institute. They did not have a place to go. We transplanted them, we gave them high-dose chemotherapy, they were immunosuppressed, they did not have a place to go. Coming from far off places, remote places, just to get an opinion. So this is required, and I think we can make a difference, and I feel that for each strata of patients, we have a solution, and I've always taught my residents and everybody in my team that for every problem, there are 500 solutions, you just have to pick one.
Thank you. So, Dr. Amit, in terms of the fraternity, how DocsCampus can help PG student? So, because post MBBS now is post MBBS everybody want to prepare for a PG program, so NEET PG, let's say. So, but in here we're not preparing NEET PG. Here we're not recommending NEET PG in our platform. We're recommending KOLs like Dr. Parik, Dr. Govind Babu, or next generation doctor, Dr. Prashant, and like you to train them digitally online. So how it will be helpful for the those who are preparing PG?
Yeah, see, if you can see, the now NEET exam and all entrance exam are becoming day by day practical. They are not theoretical exams right now. So what we can do, we can teach them practical topics. If we can connect with the hospital, any emergency procedures, what steps are important, what should be the first step, what should be the important step, that we can teach them. Along with that, some surgeries, we can give them demos which can help them to solve the MCQs. Also, emergencies like cardiac emergencies, like suppose some MI patient is coming, what should be the loading, which drugs to be given in OPD. Like GPs, if they see any MI patient, rather than getting fear of MI patient, you just give few initial drugs like ecospin, clopidogrel and heparin. That can save patients, like 10% of the patient can open their artery with just heparin. So that is very important. These practical points we can teach them through our platform. That will really, all practical questions we can help along with theoretical also.
Today, people are using WhatsApp or other social media to teach, but there are several limitations on that. And I think the way that this has been developed, including the security, to ensure that the right message is not hacked or not being distorted, I think that makes a big addition to whatever is available.
Along with that, we are a goal-directed community, so we can form all other aspirants. Like we are forming a patient network, we can form all neat aspirant networks along with mentor for them.
Yes, we do have
exactly.
between the doctors to doctors, as well as doctors as a student to community we have built, as well as we built the 85 specialty community inside this platform.
Great.
So this is going to be. That's what we want to serve first, Indian ecosystem to serve healthcare professionals as well as with the consumer together and connecting and networking them and access healthcare more practically, more of the digital and shift of the digital and shift of the rural healthcare to the digital ecosystem. That's our main objective to bring.
That's great.
Yeah, the DocsCampus. Why we say India's first. There are globally doctor-to-doctor network available. So we are the first ecosystem in the world that doctor-patient network is built and launched today.
Awesome.
Thank you. So anything, any Q&A, please feel free to, yeah?
Any questions, anyone? Okay, on that note, can we please have a huge round of applause? That was a very informative session and thank you so much all of you. And once again we would like to thank all our panelists. Now I will request Gulpanag ma'am, Mr. J.K. Singha and Dr. Parekh to head towards the media backdrop for media interviews and photo op. And can we have a huge round of applause for Gulpanag ma'am please, once again. Thank you so much. So anyone, what are your thoughts on Heal Well 24? All the doctors that are sitting here in the audience. Or anyone who's not a doctor even. I'm going to come down and start asking people now. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I think the first row is, they've already spoken. Yes? Coming back. Yes, sir. What about you?
So Mr. JK is not here. So my question goes to Chitranjan.
Ashin.
So in DocsCampus, of course, there will be a lot of opinions exchanged between the doctors and, of course, the patients also at some point in time. What would be your take on regulatory point of view? Any conflicts with ICMR and Medical Association and so the moderation and regulations, how are you going to, what is your view and what you have thought about it and how are you going to handle it?
That's a very